A survival story can last for a few hours, days, months, or even over a year. However, when it extends for nearly 2 decades, it is undoubtedly not a typical survival story. This is the story of Mehran Nasseri, who lived for 18 years at an airport. Mehran Nasseri is an Iranian refugee who lived in the departure lounge of Terminal 1 at Charles de Gaulle Airport from August 26, 1988, until July 2006. This extraordinary story inspired the renowned 2004 film The Terminal, directed by Steven Spielberg. Before delving into Mehran Nasseri's real-life narrative, let's take a look at Hollywood's version of this man. Viktor Navorski, a character inspired by Mehran Nasseri and portrayed by actor Tom Hanks, is a traveler from a fictional country named Krakozhia. The excitement of Navorski quickly vanishes as soon as he sets foot at John F. Kennedy Airport in New York, where he is denied entry into the United States. The reason a coup d'état occurred in Navorski's home country, the Republic of Krakozhia, was due to the establishment of a new government. The issue was that the United States did not recognize Krakozhia's new government, rendering Navorski's passport worthless. He became a stateless citizen, unable to enter the United States, and worse, unable to return home. Navorski was instructed to stay in the airport's transit lounge while U.S. authorities searched for a solution. He was provided with a few meal vouchers to sustain himself during the wait. Viktor Navorski, a middle-aged and kind-hearted man, flew to the United States to fulfill his late father's wish, to obtain the autograph of jazz artist Benny Golson, the final addition to a collection of 57 artists that his father had seen in a newspaper. Now, he finds himself stranded in an unfamiliar place, without money, unable to understand the language spoken by those around him, and he also cannot communicate with them. Uncertain of where to go and, more accurately, unable to go anywhere involuntarily, Viktor takes temporary refuge in an undergoing renovation section of the airport with his belongings and a box of peanuts. The issue is that the weary Assistant Chief Immigration Officer, eagerly awaiting a promotion, Frank Dixon, feels extremely irritated by the presence of Viktor. He fears that the unpredictable man will impact his career, so he is determined to figure out a way to remove Viktor from the airport and turn him into someone else's problem. Under the guise of kindness, Frank pretends to suggest to Viktor that he could gain freedom by escaping the airport when security is momentarily absent, but his attempt proves unsuccessful. Subsequently, Frank tries to persuade Viktor to seek asylum in the United States if he fears returning home, but Viktor declines. During the initial period, Viktor tries to make a living by arranging luggage carts to earn some coins. He also begins to read books, newspapers, and magazines to learn English. His occasional activities amuse airport staff, but the malicious Frank is determined to disrupt his way of life and forces him to leave his terminal. He invests in a dedicated employee solely responsible for clearing luggage carts, leaving Viktor unemployed and without income. Viktor is approached by a kitchen staff member who secretly offers him food in exchange for Viktor's help in gathering information about his crush, a coworker whom he encounters every day. Still here, he meets and falls for a beautiful flight attendant, Amelia Warren. Through wit and the assistance of his newfound friends, as well as the script and direction, he successfully wins her affection. It remains unclear whether she believes he is a wealthy and humble construction contractor who frequently travels or not. On one occasion, Viktor spontaneously repaired an old wall in the renovated area, showcasing his extraordinary talent. An airport contractor noticed and offered him a job with a very generous salary. Not only did Navorski develop his career and earn money in a place where people usually come and go, but he also found a way to become an unsung hero and earn the respect of airport staff. When a young man tries to carry medication for his dying father, the main antagonist of the movie, airport director Frank Dixon, orders the medication to be left behind despite the youth's desperate pleas. Viktor, acting as an interpreter, circumvents the rules by lying that the medication is for a goat. After a period equivalent to a full term of pregnancy, Viktor's friends woke him with the joyful news that the war in Krakozhia had ended, and he could leave the airport. Simultaneously, Amelia had arranged for a friend of hers, who happened to be a government official with a wife she had once had an extramarital affair with, to expedite Viktor's emergency visa with a one-day validity, allowing him to fulfill his father's wish. When presenting the emergency visa at customs, Viktor was informed that Dixon had to sign the visa. But with Viktor's passport now valid again, Frank just wanted to expedite his return home for comfort. He threatened Viktor that if he did not return home immediately, one of his friends, the janitor Gupta Rajan, would be deported to India and face imprisonment for assaulting a police officer in their hometown. Not wanting this to happen, Viktor finally agreed to return home. However, when Gupta learned about this, he rushed to the plane that would take Viktor home, allowing the police to apprehend him and relieve him of the emotional burden for Viktor. This incident gave Viktor enough time to enter the city, so that evening, Frank ordered the staff to prevent him from staying, but they kindly refrained from doing so with Viktor. The terminal concludes with the scene of Viktor arriving in New York at the hotel where Benny Golson is performing and finally obtaining the last signature. It is indeed a touching, captivating, and meaningful story, a great film. And Viktor Navorski would have remained a filial and kind-hearted man, humorous, enthusiastic, and full of hope until you have some free time and decide to go online to learn more about the inspiring main character of this uplifting story. And that's when you realize Hollywood's version of Viktor Navorski might not necessarily resemble the real-life counterpart. Mehran Nasseri, also known as Sir Alfred Mehran, was born in 1945 in the British petroleum settlement in Masjid Soliman, Iran, where his father, Dr. Abdulkarim, worked. Mehran claimed that he was the result of an extramarital affair. His mother, a nurse from Scotland, worked alongside his father. However, these claims were never verified, and it's highly likely that Mehran's mother was a housewife from Iran. Thanks to his father's job, Mehran had a relatively comfortable childhood. At the age of 28, he arrived in the United Kingdom to enroll in a 3-year course on South Asian Studies at the University of Bradford. During his time studying in the UK, Mehran became involved in the opposition movement against the Iranian King Mohammad Reza Pahlavi in August 1975. Unable to afford the expenses of his education, he had to return to Iran. At Tehran's Mehrabad International Airport, Nasseri was arrested for the aforementioned anti-government activities. He was taken to a secret prison and held there for 2 years. Mehran is said to have been deported from Iran in 1977 immediately upon release. He claimed to have applied for immigration in various countries and was fortunate to be granted asylum by the United Nations High Commissioner for Refugees in Belgium in October 1980. However, later investigations revealed that Nasseri was never deported from Iran. It is highly likely that he lied about this and also about his mother, with the desire to secure residency in other countries. In reality, being granted asylum allowed Mehran the right to reside in several European countries, enabling him to move freely between the United Kingdom and France. In 1988, Mehran claimed that his documents were lost when his briefcase was stolen. Many others argue that, in fact, Mehran sent his documents to Brussels, Belgium, while on a ferry to England, and falsely claimed they were stolen upon arrival in London. Mehran was returned to France when he couldn't present his passport to UK immigration officials. At the French airport, he couldn't prove his identity or asylum status, and as a result, he was detained in the no-man's land for passengers without documents. Nasseri's case was later taken up by the French human rights lawyer Christian Bourget. He attempted to request new documents to be issued by the Belgian government, and they agreed to assist if Mehran presented himself in person. In 1995, the Belgian government allowed Nasseri to come to Belgium on the condition that he agreed to live under the supervision of a social worker. However, Mehran declined this offer, stating that he wanted to enter the United Kingdom as originally planned. Even France and Belgium offered residency to Mehran, but he seemed rather stubborn, refusing to sign the documents simply because they stated he was Iranian, not British, and did not use his preferred name, Sir Alfred Mehran. Nasseri's attitude left lawyer Bourget deeply disappointed. Bourget said, "I think he will stay at the airport for the rest of his life," and this prediction almost became a reality. According to witnesses closely associated with Terminal 1 of Charles de Gaulle Airport, Nasseri's life thereafter could be observed day or night around the bars of Paris Bye-Bye, where he wrote his diary, listened to the radio, and smoked his trademark golden cigarette holder. Occasionally, people would see him enjoying a McDonald's meal bought by a stranger or sitting on a red bench on the first floor of the terminal lost in thought. It's unknown whether there were any moments when he regretted turning down those generous offers. Similar to Viktor in the terminal, Mehran's personal hygiene took place in the airport's restroom. Of course, where else could he go? Every day, Mehran woke up at 5:30 in the morning to shave in the men's restroom before passengers arrived. He read books throughout the day, and at night, he waited until the airport shops closed before brushing his teeth with the complimentary toothbrush and toothpaste from the airlines. Weekly, he washed his clothes overnight in the bathroom. Mehran is also famous throughout the airport for consistently refusing assistance. An employee of Lufthansa Transportation Company recounts that we had a colleague who offered Mehran clothes, but he returned them and said, "I am not a beggar." Although he doesn't beg, he still has to eat, so occasionally he accepts meal vouchers and money from flight attendants and airport staff. In September 2003, the New York Times reported that director Steven Spielberg had acquired the rights to Mehran's life story as the basis for The Terminal. The Guardian also reported that Spielberg's production company, DreamWorks, paid up to $250,000 to Mehran for the rights to his story. It is unclear how he received that amount or how he utilized it, given his inability to travel anywhere. Many people have seen Mehran proudly displaying a poster of the movie on his suitcase. Looks like he was very excited about The Terminal. However, it's uncertain whether he had the opportunity to go to the cinema and watch it. Also, in 2004, Mehran's autobiography, The Terminal Man, co-authored with British writer Andrew Donkin, was published and received highly impressive and excellent reviews in the Sunday Times. Mehran's 18-year life at Charles de Gaulle Airport's Terminal 1 came to an end in July 2006 when he had to be hospitalized. At the end of January 2007, he was discharged and taken care of by the French Red Cross branch at the airport. On March 6, 2007, Mehran was transferred to a charitable reception center in Paris. Some information suggests that he was brought back to the airport and lived there for a few more months before passing away due to a heart attack on November 12, 2022. Even though it didn't start with a filial story, there wasn't a romance or lovely and funny details like in the movie. Witnesses at the airport all said that Mehran was a good person. "He does no harm to anyone," said Papa Star manager of the Les Palms restaurant. "Everyone cares for him here." P.S. Mehran Nasseri's story sounds unprecedented and unique, but he is certainly not the only person to have lived permanently in an airport, much less the one to do so the longest. A Chinese man named Wei Jiangwo relocated to Beijing Capital International Airport in 2008 simply to enjoy smoking and drinking without familial constraints, and he continues to reside there to this day. Similarly, Dennis Luiz de Souza from Brazil, entangled in family disputes, moved into Sao Paulo/Guarulhos, Governor Andre Franco Montaro International Airport in 2000 and has stayed there for most of the time since. However, the record holder for this type of lifestyle is Mr. Bayram Tepeli, who lived in Istanbul's Ataturk Airport in Turkey for almost 27 years, from 1991 to 2019. The only reason this man left his family after nearly 3 decades was because he was forced to do. It is known that Ataturk Airport closed to commercial flights in 2019. Right after that, Tepeli found himself a new, even more luxurious home at Istanbul Sabiha Gökçen International Airport. Can you guess why Mr. Tepeli chose to spend nearly half of his lifetime living in airports? Yep, still the pressure from the family. If family dynamics can create such immense pressure that it drives people out of their homes, aren't those of us who can endure it like diamonds in terms of resilience? Don't forget to hit the like button and subscribe, and turn on the notification bell to not miss out on the latest videos.